weekend that we'll touch on a little bit later on in the show. But Cease, expectations. Well, they're huge in Boulder now after the news we just talked about. But I want to talk about what they are with the Broncos, where our expectations have changed now that they're sitting at 6-5, and now that they're looking at really 1, 2, 3. I'm not quite sure in the Chargers game, especially being at SoFi there, but 3 games in front of them that are certainly winnable. At Vegas this weekend, Cleveland on Monday Night Football the following, Indianapolis. Then after the bye week is what we're looking at. I can't look at this roster, look at where they are, look at what Bo has done, what other players have done to step up and go, 9 wins I'd feel all right with. Now, I'm not going to scream at the clouds if they don't get to that 10 wins.
Right.
But it's right in front of them. You can get to 10 wins. You probably should get to 10 wins, and that means you're a wild card team.
The expectations are there now with the Denver Broncos, but they're not buying into that and listening to the hype or the questions from the media yesterday in the locker room of like, well, you guys could be a playoff team. It's about a week-to-week basis. They're still the underdogs. And they will remain the underdogs. They make a run at the postseason. They're still going to be the underdogs. They know that. They know what they have together, and they always have. Mm-hmm. Like, the national audience might be surprised by, wow, the Broncos got over their 5.5 win total. Guys in that locker room aren't surprised. The guys on that locker room still have more to prove. They had more to prove in that game against Kansas City. They didn't let the Baltimore game reside with them. As Coop told me, as Adam Troutman told me, you can't lose twice.
Yeah.
Well, they didn't. They bounced back, and from the Baltimore game, almost beat Kansas City, should have beaten Kansas City. Now you go beat Atlanta. So these kind of hiccups along the way, they dropped 2 games in different ways. Baltimore with that big loss, and then Kansas City with that heartbreaking loss. It didn't affect them. It didn't change them. But also now, after this big win, well, they're not ones to sit around and be like, well, we're the greatest, guys. We made it. We totally told you what we could do, and we went out and did it. They haven't proven a damn thing, and they know that. And they know that they themselves have to take care of business in a place they've never won in Las Vegas. Now go end that streak. You hadn't beat the Las Vegas Raiders until earlier this year. You haven't won in Las Vegas since they've been in Vegas. So go in, take care of that, and just keep marching. Just keep swimming.
Yeah.
Just keep going. If you're the Denver Broncos and Sean Payton, that's where your focus is at, not on how great we are, guys.
No, and then Sean Payton's not going to let his team do that. Right now, with what they are, like, we're still coming off of a rebuild here. You might argue they're still in a stage of the rebuild because there's still so much roster building that you have to do.
Yes.
So with the expectation being 10 wins, I want to look at some of these games I was just talking about, and it's for every season. It's for every little stretch of the schedule, whatever it is you want to look at. But there's like, all right, there's a game you might lose that you shouldn't. There's a game that you might win that you probably shouldn't. Now, outside of like Indy and Cincinnati, those are the games that they really cannot lose. They shouldn't lose to Vegas. They shouldn't lose to Cleveland. They shouldn't lose to Indianapolis. But with what Indianapolis and Cincinnati is, now Cincinnati may have taken care of itself by the time we get to week 17.
Right.
But those are the 2 games that you cannot lose. It would be disappointing to lose to Las Vegas or Cleveland. But if you drop one of those, handle your business against Indy and Cincy, and then you're still going to get a game. Maybe that one you're not supposed to win is the Chiefs, or even though it's at home, you're still sitting pretty if you drop one of the games you're supposed to win with an opportunity to get 10.
Right. Chargers game coming up, Chiefs game coming up, Raiders game coming up. The divisional matchups you got to take care of business of. And if it's Carson Wentz instead of Pat Mahomes in the season finale, good. Beat them down, beat you down. Like, you've got to just go win if you're the Denver Broncos. And I think the game against the Chargers, and what we're seeing now is you could see a rematch of something in the wild card round. The rematch could be with the Pittsburgh Steelers in the wild card round. The rematch could be with the Baltimore Ravens in the wild card round. The rematch could be with the Kansas City Chiefs in the wild card round if they falter and the Steelers take them over for the number 1 spot. The rematch also could be with the Chargers at some point, not in the wild card round because you'll both be those teams and probably just be too close. Chargers aren't going to be the number 2 seed. So you have to put up a fight against the playoffs teams. Now, the playoff teams on the other side, Atlanta's a playoff team. Okay, you beat them down. Mm-hmm. Kansas City's a playoff team. You almost won that game. Baltimore, different story. So you look back at this season, the confidence, the momentum, the Bo-mentum has grown because that quarterback is different now. I just commented on our YouTube page, and hey, if you're watching us on YouTube, like, comment, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell so that you never miss a vid. We appreciate you for that. I was just commenting to someone of like, if they played Pittsburgh now, they wouldn't lose that game.
Yeah.
This is a different team now. It's a different Bo now.
I might do the same thing with Seattle.
Yeah.
They lost by 6 points in that game.
Right.
Kenneth Walker ran all over him. The defensive line is much improved from week 12 to week 1.
Yes, you figured things out, and Bo is better. Bo had seemingly butterflies when he played against Seattle. Maybe the butterflies carried over with Pittsburgh, and certainly they can get after your quarterback. The pass protection for Bo has been outstanding, and Bo is producing. He'll continue to produce, and this team, from a pass blocking standpoint, is better than they were last year when they were 8th in pass block win rate. They're 3rd right now.
Wow.
In pass block win rate. They're actually a better pass blocking team than a run blocking team, which is not the opposite of what they want to be, but they want to be a better run blocking unit.
Right.
But they're protecting Bo, and part of that, as Sean Payton will tell us all the time, your sack stats, that's a quarterback stat.
Yeah.
And maybe it's a
let
shot.
us know.
Maybe it's a shot at Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
Maybe it's not. I don't even care. I don't care about Russ. Russ, go have all the fun you want in Pittsburgh. That's great, man. Awesome for you. Good for you, bud. As John Elway would say, riding a scooter years ago. But like for me,
good for you, bud.
that's the greatest ever. For me, it's more about building with Bo and winning in different ways. They're opening up the playbook. The menu is becoming much larger for Bo Nix than it was in week 1 or week 2 or week 3 or week 4. It took some time, but Bo's there now where you can just debut more and more and more for the kid.
Something that I've heard ZB do a couple times. I'm gonna steal a page out of his playbook for a second. He offers Phil these deals.
Contracts.
And will he take them or will he not? So I got one that Zach had thrown out I want to throw at you, and I'll answer as well.
Okay.
Would you rather 9 games, that's what you win, and Bo's the Rookie of the Year, or 10 games, you're in the playoffs, and Bo doesn't get any hardware?
Yeah, it's not about the hardware. Bo doesn't even care about that. Bo has not. Now, Kevin Kistner may be dialed in on the Bo Nix disrespect and who's got the receipts. Bo doesn't give a damn. He doesn't give a blankety blank 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 about awards, accolades, what people are saying on Twitter, what people are saying on anything else. Like, he doesn't care. It's not about the accolades. I don't think it should be for anyone in Broncos country. I honestly, again, going back, we'll put this conversation to bed at some point, but I'll just tell you, like, privately in front of a microphone with tens of thousands of people listening, I don't care what anyone says about Bo Nix. I have eyes. I know when I watch Bo Nix, I see really good football.
Yep.
I see a young man that's playing sharp football, that's getting better. I game plan kind of for and against the Broncos every week. I'm not quite the dork that Drew Spivak is with college football. I'm putting together my own top 25. But
I like that he does it.
I think it's awesome. I am a dork when it comes to, like, I'm going to game plan against the Denver Broncos. In fact, coming up at noon on Friday's show tomorrow, I'm going to tell you about a Raiders running back that can get you.
Ooh.
I got that at noon tomorrow. We're going to go through a game plan for the Denver Broncos. But as I game plan for Denver and then against them as well, I don't know what Bo Nix is going to do on a week-to-week basis because he does more. Sean gives him more. So, and I'm just a nerd game planning for fantasy football reasons. But, like, imagine an NFL team. You're the Raiders. You're preparing for the Denver Broncos. You've seen 11 games of Bo Nix, but you haven't seen number 12. You've got 11 games of Bo Nix, and he's doing more, and he's doing a little different, and then he's doing more, and then he's running a lot, then he's not running at all, then he's throwing a bunch of touchdowns, then he's throwing to Nate Atkins. Like, all these different things and all the different variety of screen passes that they're using to set up the downfield stuff. You can't really put a pointer on Bo yet.
Right.
And that's very, very dangerous.
Kind of to what you're talking about there of adding things and Bo having a better understanding of what's going on. Sean talked about that, was it yesterday? Yeah, today's only Thursday, about adding dialogue, and he's kind of hinting at here adding plays through the week that Bo can handle because of his grasp of the system and NFL games.
I think the process, and Davis Webb does a great job with him, and of course, Joe Lombardi, and Pete, we've got a lot of experience. And so I think the process has been pretty consistent. And, I think week by week there'll be certain things. What's really important as the week evolves. Right, tonight we game plan 3rd down, and there's a play that that I want to install. So it's important tomorrow, the look, because it's a play we haven't run. And so it's important the look we get tomorrow, maybe 2 times, is conducive to, a new play probably for him as well, where come Saturday, he's saying, this is a green play, I like it, and so that dialogue, that back and forth is important.
All right, and to me, Cecil, it's like, okay, you're now adding things, and it's to the game plan versus your opponent, so it's not like an install that we've talked about through camp and OTAs and things like that. But that tells me, all right, Bo has a pretty good understanding of what the playbook is. Yep. Now you're just adding, like I said, just a few things extra because, I see something this weekend against the Raiders linebacker or that cornerback. Let's add something that exposes that player.
Well, Adam Troutman talked about it in the locker room where he said, Sean and Bo put together they call a good game. Not that Bo's calling the game, but during the week, Bo is going to say, this is what I saw on film.
Okay.
Now imagine that. As someone who is Sean Payton that gets excited by film study, like it's like Dion, it gets all weird, right? Where he's just like, that turns us on.
Yeah.
It's sexy. Film study for Sean Payton is his sexy. Well, guess what? Bo's sexy as that as well. So it's Bo going to Sean being like, look what I saw. And it's Sean going either, I didn't see that, or I saw that too.
Yeah.
How about we run this? No, how about this? How about that? Like, it's the coming together. It's such a great recipe. And that's why the national media, I guess Bo Nix was a great fit for Sean Payton. And look at the last 2 quarterbacks. And they had Jaden Daniels as their number 1 quarterback. Full disclosure. Jaden Daniels, number 1. But look at the last 2 quarterbacks that Sean Payton has really, 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 really wanted. The last 2 quarterbacks that Sean Payton has really, 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 really wanted, Pat Mahomes and Bo Nix.
Turns out they're pretty good players, huh? You know what else I love? You were talking about Bo and Sean just sitting there just geeking out over football stuff. Dude, I love radio too much, probably, honestly, too much. I love nothing more. Like, if we just get together and just shoot the you-know-what about radio.
Yes.
I freaking love doing that. So I'm picturing Bo and Sean with the same passion and love that you and I have for radio on football and just doing the same thing.